Let me get for you.
Hello, hello. Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining us for Hi. How
Hi,
are
Catherine.
you? Oh, hold on 1 second. I can't hear. Didn't think about that part. Give us 1 second. I
No
think
problem.
with the microphone, I'm not able to hear her audio. Give us 1 second. Good old technology for us.
Oh,
We
I
have
know.
a mic in, and due to the mic, I can't hear you. So I'm just going to take the mic out so I can actually hear you and have a conversation.
Perfect.
There we go.
Hello, can you hear me?
I can.
And I can hear you. Sorry about that.
No. I'm just glad I figured it out. I haven't done a live in a while. I was like, I think I just do this and this. So anyway, it's all good.
It almost feels like when outside opened again and we forgot how to interact with people in social settings. Like, do I wave? Do we shake hands? Do we fist bump? Like, what are we doing these days?
I know. I was actually nervous to do this. And I was like, why am I nervous? I'm like, oh, humans.
Human interaction. Forgot what that feels like.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to still let some people trickle in. We are doing another Buds and Convo, and we have the pleasure to sit down with Mender Shop. And we have Mender Shop here at Happy Buds. And you can visit us at Happy Buds at 225 Malcolm X Boulevard, right in the heart of Brooklyn. So as we're letting people get settled in, how is your energy today?
It's good. It feels like a Friday.
I mean, it's Friday Eve, so we're almost there. St. Patty's Day. We want to, take a little shot of some whiskey afterwards or during. I'm not going to judge. I just don't have my beverage. And if I some whiskey, Cappy Cork is still open on 51st Buffalo Ave, so you can stop by and grab any Black-owned whiskey that we have in the store as well.
Oh, man. I wish I had some of that on hand. That sounds good.
Yeah, my favorite is Abbey Solo whiskey. I paired it with the Moscow Mule that we have in there with some sorrel liqueur. Superb. If I'm being honest.
That sounds really good.
So we seem to have a few people in here. So to kick it off, welcome everyone again. This is Buds and Convo. We're sitting down with Mender Shop. My name is Kat. I'm one of your happy tenders here at Happy Buds, also at Happy Court. Happy Buds is a CBD and wellness store, Black-owned CBD wellness store, again, heart of Brooklyn. You can find us at 225 Malcolm X Boulevard, and it is the sister venue to Happy Court Brooklyn, which is the Black-owned wine and spirit shop on 51st Buffalo Ave, where we have over 80% of Black-owned wine and spirits available. So, to start it off, I'm going to flip it to you, and first I'm going to say, Happy Women's Month.
Thank you. You too.
Thank you. And let's start with you telling everyone who you are, what you do. Let's just kick it off that way.
Okay. My name is April. I founded Mender in 2017 when California voted for Prop 64, which made cannabis legal in the state. And when we first launched, I came from the wine branding world, but I also have a master's degree in public policy, which is kind of required for being in the cannabis space in some ways. If you don't want to spend a lot of money on lawyers, it actually really came in handy to understand all the legal aspects of the business. Yeah, so when we first started in 2018, CBD was like the Wild West. I mean, it was like you couldn't get credit card processing or banking. It was basically just like being in the cannabis space. And I was born and raised on the Central Coast of California, and we were raised with more cannabis in our lives than even alcohol, even as teenagers. And so I've just always loved the plant. So when we had a chance to launched this brand, and our goal was just to elevate the look and feel of her, our beautiful cannabis plant that we love, to the station that we felt she deserved. So we put a lot of time and energy into designing our products. And then all of our products are not just CBD, but use a lot of different botanicals, some of which have cannabinoids in them too. And just the idea of that nature is a beautiful thing. It's a wonderful thing. Cannabis is just part of that. It shouldn't be separated out as this whole different category. And we really love that, you know, we have more cannabinoid receptors in our skin and in our armpits and hair follicles than anywhere else in our body. So to put cannabis on your skin is a really cool, elegant way to reach your endocannabinoid system, which is good for balance. And I mean, everything from like keeping your skin from drying out to pain relief and inflammation. So when we first launched, I had no idea that topicals were even a thing. And then once we got into them, it was just like the coolest world ever, just learning so much. So, and so I'm the founder and I'm still running the company today. And yeah, that's it.
We love women founders, especially during Women's Month. So one more time for the women doing things in the business, in the industry. Congratulations to you. I know it's not an easy feat to go through, but I am curious. I'm going to touch on a lot of things that you said later on, but what I want to start with is what inspired you to even create this brand?
Like I said, where, you know, the creative director, Jesse Morales, who's the creative director here at Mender, and then me, we were working together at a creative agency here in the Central Coast of California, where we were working on elevating local wine brands. In California, I don't, you know if you guys know this, but Napa Valley was like the, you know, it was like it was super expensive, super elite. And at the time, there was this real push to have wine be accessible to all people, and it should be like drank with friends, and it shouldn't have to be $50 a bottle. And to brand that, you know, we used a lot of like creative, a lot of design that really like spoke to individuals. And it was like, this is for working people, this is for single moms, this is for everybody to enjoy. It's not some like, you know, elite, like you have to know all of the things.
Mm-hmm.
And so when cannabis first became legalized for recreational use, I just was like, I want to do what we're doing for wine, for cannabis. Like, I want to elevate the brand. And at the time, it was like a lot of the cannabis marketing was like, we called it boobs and bongs,
Oh,
which is totally like, we love boobs and bongs, like nothing wrong with boobs and bongs at all. But it was, you know what I mean? It was very like male gaze dominated, the marketing and branding for most of those brands. So, you know, we really were like, let's just design a brand and see like, what would it look like to design a cannabis brand that's really like timeless and elegant and natural feeling.
very timeless and elegant right here. Yeah.
Yeah. And then we were like, all right, well, what products do we want to bring on, you know? And then that's when we started getting into skincare, topicals. We even have a deodorant because we had read that hair follicles, yeah, because our, you know, so many people want a natural deodorant that doesn't have aluminum in it. But then also, you know, your armpits are right next to your lymph nodes where you're like processing all of your toxins. And so it was like, I think everyone should have a little bit of cannabis in their armpits to just like detox, calm the skin too from shaving, or, you know, just even exercise chafing. And we wanted it to have that texture that's like the creamy texture that we like. We didn't want to do the glycerin-y, waxy, wet texture. So there was just like a lot of different things that, and then of course, you know, pain and then hydration and all of that kind of stuff too. But yeah, we had a lot of fun basically like reading up on what CBD can do when it's on your body and then be like, we could make this, 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 and this.
So I'm curious now, since you had mentioned deodorant, when you think about anxiety and they get nervous, where do we sweat first from? And then what do we also do? We consume CBD to help our anxiety. Do you find that deodorant helps in that sense of like for people who, like myself, can get very sweaty in our hair area when we're nervous and we don't want it to show? Have you heard customer reviews saying it's helped them with their sweat glands using the CBD deodorant?
I don't know. I think the CBD is primarily for treating like the inflammation, but what we do have in our deodorant, which is a natural antiperspirant, and is arrowroot. So we use arrowroot powder and we use food grade. So you can use it, you know, it's like what in the old times, I'm not even sure what they use it in cakes, I think. It's like a thickening agent, but it's natural. And so we use arrowroot powder to work as a natural antiperspirant. And then a lot of natural deodorants, people, and myself included, when we were developing this product with our formulator, she was like, oh, and then baking soda. And I was like, I'm allergic to baking soda. And she said, actually, no one's allergic to baking soda. It's that natural deodorants are not pH balanced. So the baking soda is too alkaline, and so it doesn't match with your natural pH, and you get alkaline burn, which will turn into like a small red, and then it slowly like moves, you know, around your armpit. Yeah. And so we pH balance our deodorant with magnesium because magnesium is naturally acidic. So our deodorant is pH balanced. I think one person who said they're just like have really strange pH couldn't use it, but otherwise everyone loves it. And the creamy texture really helps with sweating, because I'm with you. The minute I get nervous, I'm like pitting out my shirt.
I'm like, let me get some colors, let me get some thickness, let me keep a jacket on, and nobody needs to see what's happening here. Let me just act like I'm cool, and I'm really not. But I love that, and this is why it's so important to have women-based brands with women in mind. You're designing products because we know what we need. We know what like our body needs, and unfortunately, these big companies don't consider that in time. They don't consider that, period. So having products like these and showcasing products like these is part of the reason why Sunshine, the owner of the shop, wanted to have these products and these brands in here so we can help with our community. So yeah. A little bit. Speaking about being a boss woman, I saw somewhere that you used to do martial arts, and motorcycles remind me, first off, to never cross you, because you know, if you feel like I say anything that's offensive, just call me out. I don't want any beef with you. You know how to kick some ass. But with that, how did you discover CBD was working for your pain relief and your body aches?
Oh yeah, because I started riding old vintage Japanese motorcycles like 20 years ago, and you're just gonna fall down. It's just a matter of time. You're just gonna fall down sometimes. It just happens. And so, you know, I landed on my hip pretty hard a couple of times. And then in martial arts, I was training in Aikido, and I had injured my shoulder when I had gotten pinned really hard. And it was kind of like that thing where I was like, well, I guess I'm just living with mildly chronic pain forever. And it wasn't like bad enough to be crippling, but it was bad enough to where, you know, it would be like, I can't sleep on one side, or, you know, it would act up when it rained. And I was like, God, is this what getting old is like? And then when we formulated our pain salve, which is basically like, our pain salve does not have 1,000,000 milligrams of CBD. It's CBD in an organic coconut oil base, which coconut oil is one of the best carriers for CBD because it's really bioavailable. And we combine it with arnica, which is known for pain, and then fresh willow bark. We infuse all the fresh herbs for 2 days before we even create the salve. Mm-hmm. And the willow bark is where aspirin comes from, so it's got a numbing agent. Okay. And then we add like cayenne and menthol and a bunch of other like spicy herbs to essentially get your circulation going. And so it's like a nice CBD tiger balm where when you put it on, it'll start to warm and then it'll tingle. And then 15 minutes later, the CBD gets pulled into the muscle, and, you know, that inflammation starts to go down. So our CBD doesn't just rely, or our pain salve doesn't just rely on CBD to help the pain. It really relies on several different botanical medicinal herbs that have been being used for centuries, you know, in several cultures around the world. And so now it's just part of my nightly routine. I sit on my couch, I rub all my old injuries, and, you know, I get on my foam roller because I'm 45. And so I'm like, all right,
45. Forgot the and fabulous.
Thank you. But yeah, it's funny because my bike has been out of commission for a while, and my husband's like, I've almost got your motorcycle up again, and I was like, all right, now that I've got all my injuries under control, I'm ready to start going.
Oh, so can we see you back on your motorcycle coming soon? Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Love to see it. But with that, I did notice in a lot of your products, you use a lot of natural ingredients that we can even find in our cabinet. Like you mentioned cayenne, some of your products have turmeric. How did you learn that these herbs can also be beneficial when mixed together with CBD when it comes to our healing, our pains?
Yeah, our natural formulator had several years of, experience, trial and error, but then also researching all of the different herbs and really digging deep onto which ones actually work. Because there's a lot of ones that, maybe work, maybe not. But like there's certain things like in our headache roller, we have copaiba, which actually has cannabinoids in it also, and copaiba is really powerful anti-inflammatory, and it's an essential oil in the headache roller. But it's really cool because that paired with CBD, there's been studies done on copaiba that it's almost as powerful as CBD for inflammation. So we pair that with CBD and then peppermint and a bunch of other, that's kind of like the aromatherapy side. So we approach everything from a lot of different angles because, as women, it's like we want to, and men too, like they want to smell goods. Because I've smelled a lot of CBD products and I'm like, oh, you know what I mean? And we get that all the time when we pop up. People will be like, am I going to smell like weed or blah, blah, blah? And I'm like, no, all of our products smell so good. And that's part of it.
I love it. So, what would you recommend for people to be the best form of relief when they suffer body aches and pains? You had mentioned, at night you use the pain salve right before you go to bed. What's the best way people can start incorporating it in their daily life?
Yeah, I think that for me, I use the in the morning after I shower. I use the body oil and the Lux, which you have right in front of you, the Lux Relief Cream, which is really potent. That's 400 milligrams. It's 100 milligrams per ounce, and it's really hydrating. And it's a melt away lotion, so it's really like it seals in moisture. It's very plumping, but I do like all over body with the body oil first, and it's good. You can do a body check-in. It's like I mentioned, I'm 45 years old. It's like I'm doing the self breast exams in the morning with my CBD oil. It just helps me, and then I rub it into like all my sore spots, and that just kind of helps me check in with my body. But then also, that's your lotion. And then you're done, and then you've got your anti-inflammation that's working. And then if I'm in acute pain, I'll do the pain salve in the morning too. But otherwise, if I'm just having my mainline normal pain, I do the pain salve at night right before bed, because that's when all of your healing takes place.
Didn't know that. Another good. Oh no, thank you so much. I hope everyone's writing these little tidbits down. But I love how you mentioned the massage oil, because I did also want to point out on your blog, you had mentioned that someone had said they did it in a fun way and they were dancing around their room, and then someone did it in a sexy, playful way in their intimate life. What is your favorite creative story on how a customer used your massage oil product? Because I thought those two were the cutest.
I know. My favorite one was when she emailed me and said that she was kind of like woke up in kind of a funk. It was just, I mean, we're all kind of like languishing after, like, we're in the pandemic, but we're out of the pandemic, and it's like really stressful. And it's like, now it's sort of like we have to make all these decisions about our own health now, and the guidelines are all crazy. So it's like, it's just a lot of mainline anxiety, that kind of underlies everything we're doing right now. And doing business is kind of weird with like, shipments are kind of delayed, and I mean, but she said she was like feeling really weird. So she's like, you know what? I'm just going to put on my favorite song. And I think it was I think it was by the Gorillas. And she's like, and I just rubbed the massage oil all over myself. And she's like, and before I knew it, I was just like really loving my body and just being so thankful for my body. And she's like, and then I'm all glistening and shiny and sexy. And she's like, and I'm just like dancing in front of the mirror, like looking at how beautiful I am. And then she's like, and then I went to work and I felt great. And it was like, yes, because cannabis is a ritualistic thing. It's whether you smoke it or put it on your body or eat it or whatever you do, it's meant for ritual and it should be honored in that way. So we love the idea of using our products in a ritualistic way, you know?
And I love the whole dancing and feeling sexy and empowered, because if anyone knows the girls that work here at Happy Buds and Happy Cork, if we have a section and our song comes on, we're going to bust out and move. Trent is very known to dance in Happy Cork. If you pop by me at Happy Buds, you see me have my own little karaoke time. So I love the fact that it's helping people get connected with falling in love with self, and the fact that you had mentioned it's a ritual, because it's a daily ritual to fall in love with yourself every day as well. So I love that. With that, I do also want to ask, you had mentioned earlier, and we were talking about, you know, the products that we need as women. So you're keeping in mind the inclusivity of what is the inclusivity of different skin types when it comes to women that are using your products, especially since you have amazing products like the youth serum, which sells out like so much here. People gravitate to the youth serum a lot. I'm assuming everyone here must be using it, because don't nobody look whenever I talk to anybody every day. But like, how do you keep that in mind? It's also very similar to why we love Rihanna and had representation. Oh no, are we frozen?
Oop, you froze a little tiny bit, but I caught Rihanna and representation.
Yes, representation and inclusivity when it comes to products and brand.
Gosh. That's a really good question. It's interesting because when I think about inclusivity in the body care space, I tend to think about trying to include men, because men are the ones that are like just now starting to do self-care. But when you're talking about different skin types, different skin colors, I think the closest thing that I could say is that, you know, we pull from a lot of traditions for skincare. Where I am, where I am right now, we have a little, we manufacture everything and bottle everything in house. And right next door, we're next door to a distillery and a sushi place. And the woman, Hiroko, who's Japanese, loves our repair serum because it has camellia oil, and that's something they use in Japan that she used in Japan. So, you know, and then our Baku Chile comes from India, which is a beauty treatment in India, which is where the retinol molecule comes from. Is, you know, that's nature's retinol, is Baku Chile. And studies have shown it's just as useful or just as effective as, you know, retinol on your skin. And for that, you know, we were brought aware that Baku Chile has, you know, because it can be wildly foraged, and the beauty industry is what it is, it has a very nefarious past of like indigenous Indian women. That's their job, is to gather it. And it has been, you know, exploited. So we made sure that where we get it, we carry all the certification from, you know, to make sure it's free trade. So I think in terms of all skin types, our face oils are absolutely for most skin types. But in terms of inclusivity, I think for us, it comes down to like sourcing ingredients and making sure that what we're purchasing is not exploitative to anybody.
I love it. A conscious brand. We love it.
Yeah, we just actually started buying all of our CBD from Brittany at Tonic, who has Bardo Labs up in upstate New York too. So we're working with them now. So it's like all of our CBD is single source. So as things change and more products and more ingredients become available, that's been really cool to be able to really consider every ingredient.
I love that. And I did want to touch on that as well with your partnership. Congratulations on that. It was a very conscious decision. I love brands that have conscious mindsets. But with that, you had spoke about the importance of partnership while cannabis is becoming capitalized. Can you speak a little bit on why it was so important to you to have this partnership with a local family-run business, especially while we're seeing the rapid pace of cannabis trying to be legalized and capitalism trying to get their hands on how can they control it and benefit it, whereas brands like yourself that have been doing it for a while are still trying to beat the curve in a sense?
Yeah, I mean, when we first started, I think I was in 2018, I was working, doing freelance editing for MJ Lifestyle magazine. And I wrote a piece about the shrinking women in the cannabis industry and how before legalization, women were really, I mean, female representation in the cannabis space was way higher than any other industry in the country, even though it was a black market. And that was fascinating to me. It was like from the woman in San Francisco, I can't remember her name off the top of my head, but she made edibles, I mean, on the black market, but she made brownies, and I think Brownie Betty maybe was her name.
Oh, yeah.
But I mean, and that she was a single mom and that was her living. And, you know, it was like, she cared about, you know, the quality of the cannabis that went into her products, and she sold them. And, you know, a lot of the grows, you know, were family owned, like smaller grows. And then it was like the second it was legalized, it was like, we call it in California, I'm not sure where you guys call it out there, but here there's just an incredible amount of tech bro money, you know, coming out of Silicon Valley. And we started immediately seeing, you know, the biggest CBD body care and edible brands, a lot of them were, you know, bankrolled by tech bro money that didn't really care about cannabis, you know, and didn't really, you know, they just wanted to hop on the newest market trend. And it was hard to watch because a lot of them, you know, were somehow able to get credit card processing websites and advertise on social media. And the rest of us were like, you know, like I'm banned from PayPal for life. And so, you know, because at one point we had credit card processing pulled and we had to switch over to PayPal for a short period of time. And then, you know, they viewed, you know, CBD as a controlled substance. And so suddenly, you know, you're like banished, which, you know, whatever, screw you, PayPal. But they had this crazy leg up, you know, on everyone else because of the financing. And for like me, you know, I bootstrapped this company with my own cash. And I haven't taken any investment yet. And because I want to maintain 100% creative control, and I'd rather be happy than be rich. You know?
Oh my God.
I wasn't raised with money. I'm used to being frugal. So I just really felt like, you know, I love what I do. I love my company. And so when I partnered with Brittany, you know, Brittany said something really cool on the phone, and Brittany and I had been like friends since the beginning, like sharing resources. And Brittany said something really cool. She said, we're at an inflection point where there's so many players in the space. They're going to start to either buy each other up and brands are going to get killed. Brands are going to get bought and killed. And, you know, that's just what happens under capitalism. Mm-hmm. And she was like, you know, and we kind of discussed like, well, what would it look like if a bunch of us, you know, small family, people of color, women, whatever, what if all of our brands maintain the integrity of our own brands and we just collaborated resources, you know, CBD ingredients, even sales channels, you know, we're starting to work with them on some like small scale distribution to start to see where we can go so we can make sure that we're, you know, in as many retailers as possible so we can compete. But I love this idea of like a collective or a cooperative, you know, so we can own our own. I mean, I'm a Marxist, so I'm like, we can own our own labor, you know, we can own our own lives. I mean, and pay people what they're worth and feel good doing it, you know?
It's go where you're celebrated, not tolerated. That's what I always say. But I love that. And it's part of the reason what drove me to be a part of the team here at Happy Cork, Happy Buds, because seeing like the work they do in the community and the fact that there's some brands in here, this is the first store they've ever seen their products sold in, and having that in the community and having people in the community be able to feel comfortable and safe coming in here and asking and getting actual knowledge before they start going into it, and being able to support more women-owned brands, POC brands, small businesses, because that's what really makes America. And I loved how on your blog as well, you had talked about like how we can fight capitalism in a sense. And I did want to ask, like, as consumers, what part can consumers play in fighting against this?
I think the biggest thing, and we hear it a lot, is that not all CBD brands are created equal. And we just did a pop-up last week. Actually, it was really cool. Here in the town that we're located in, they were celebrating all women chefs and winemakers, and they had and then they had all the women-owned businesses come and do like a street fair. And we hear it over and over and over. They say, I've already tried CBD and it doesn't work. And it's like, but have you tried CBD that's like full spectrum with a brand that actually cares about how it's made, that's in a bioavailable base? And then when you get to the bottom of it, they're like, no, I tried an isolate and a whipped white lotion. And I'm like, well, mineral oil and petroleum products cause inflammation, so you're not going to get, And so that's what consumers can do, is just, it doesn't even take that long to just, do a quick hit the about page, see who their partners are, or go to their Instagram and see what shops they're in. Like, we're so proud to be partnered with you guys. Like, every time I email Sunshine, it's like I get giggles, like
a ray of sun wavelengths. Yeah, it's kind of
yeah.
crazy.
Yeah, like it feels good, like a real partnership where you're like doing business, but you're also like trusting each other and, all of that. And I think that ecosystem that we're all creating together, like consumers want to be a part of that, and they just need to make sure that that's the energy that's happening. That's the ecosystem they want to like buy into, because now more than ever, dollars is voting. I mean, dollars is more powerful than voting now. And so if you really care about what's happening in the world and you want to be, if you want to stick it to the man, you use your money.
That's my favorite. Everything. I'm like, I don't care if Goya, if they don't even realize I'm just saving my money, because I know for myself that I'm not supporting that brand. I don't care. Y'all can have it. I don't want it. You're not gonna get my hard-earned cash. While you guys are writing comments, I did want to call out Sunshine and say that's because she loves you. So that's the one that caught my eye that I just wanted to shout out there. Anyone has questions, you can feel free to use the question box as well, and I'll be sure to get to them towards the end. But you did say two things that I did want to ask questions about. You had mentioned full spectrum versus like isolated and broad spectrum. Mm-hmm. For people that are starting into CBD, what would you tell them with the difference between full versus broad, and which ones they should utilize based on which needs that they're looking for the benefits of, whether it be anxiety, whether it be like health benefits? Like, how would you describe and sort of coach somebody into which one they should prefer?
Yeah. So, full spectrum CBD is, obviously from hemp. They use a CO2 extraction process. And so it's basically like the tar or, the kief or the sap of the actual hemp flower, pure and simple. Then broad spectrum is when you don't, it's still a CO2 extraction process, but you're not getting any of the THC in there. And that, I could be wrong on this, but I think this is true. And that's from hemp plants that don't have the 0.03% THC in the buds. Okay. And then isolate is it's a chemical process to extract the CBD molecule from the actual plant. And what it looks like table salt, so it looks like it's a granule. So if you're going for pain, you know, most people that I have heard really respond best physically to the full spectrum, broad spectrum. We use full spectrum, even though after we formulate and then we do our third party testing, sometimes our products don't show THC, which would technically be a broad spectrum product. But the original CBD does have THC. It just got diluted with the, you know, the coconut oil that we use for ourselves. But like right now we're working on an edible with a candy maker in New York, and we really want it to be for a daytime thing or a nighttime thing that's really addressing anxiety and stress. And so CBG is a new cannabinoid that everyone is talking about that is showing huge promise in scientific settings for reducing anxiety and stress. And so the CBG we're getting from Tonic, Bardo Labs, the Tricola Farms, and then our CBD we get from them also. And then CBN is what people are starting to take for sleep in very small doses. So our edible may or may not have a tiny bit of CBN, and that will probably be an isolate because CBN is like, you know, you get your CBD and it's like, you know, 86% CBD to 0.02% CBN. And that's just because CBN, the cannabinoid, the plant hasn't been bred to have a lot of that. It's just like when the original landrace strains of cannabis were around 1-to-1 CBD to THC, because CBD balances the effects of THC. Like if your friend, our newsletter marketing woman who does our newsletter marketing for us texted me the other night and was like, my friend's over here, she got way too high. What do I do? I'm like, CBD.
Really?
Yeah. And so that was before cannabis really became highly commercialized. And then when it became highly commercialized, people wanted to get higher and higher and higher and higher. So they started breeding the CBD out of the cannabis. And so a lot of the strains we have now are really high CBD and low CBD.
Nice.
That was kind of a side tangent, but that explains why CBG is sometimes going to be like an isolate form, is just because you would have to have so much product in order to get a 1 to 2 milligram dose to take that edge off and make you feel like you can relax.
So the second question that I had was about people who feel the placebo effect, and you kind of spoke to that as well, with them not paying attention to what actual product are they buying. Was it a big box brand that's just pushing something out there, maybe just has a little labeling of CBD on there, but CBD, excuse me, CBD, CBN, all the CBDs just throw me off. So with that, like, how do you also combat people who are looking to feel something, one, immediately, two, are used to the THC effects and unsure on how to isolate that CBD effect and what the CBD effect will actually feel and look like to each individual? So how do you sort of combat people who think it's a placebo effect?
Well, you know, the placebo effect, what is it? It's like a third of all people experience a placebo effect with most medications. And so maybe again, that goes back to the ritual of it. Maybe it's just the fact that you have a headache and you're now rubbing something into your neck, and it's the act of massaging yourself that's relieving your headache. I mean, it's so hard to separate out. In terms of an edible experience, we always say that, you know, CBD feels like, we say it feels like stepping out of a hot steamy shower, or my assistant always says it's like drinking a glass of wine without the buzz. You just feel, you know, it's just like a little release. Whereas, you know, the THC, you get the really fun psychotropic effects, you know, whereas, you know, people say CBD is not psychoactive. It is psychoactive. It does work on our brain chemistry. That's just a scientific fact. What they mean to say is that it's not psychotropic, which means it's not going to, you're not going to trip out, you know, or whatever. So in terms of the placebo effect, that is an interesting question. And it's just really hard to say.
Everyone is different.
Everyone is so different. Like, my neighbor here, whenever we do vegan, gluten-free, organic, fruit flavored gumdrops, but I sent some to Sunshine, but they have to be refrigerated. They're not shelf stable. They only last for a few weeks. So until we get our other edibles, but I have a local following. I'll send you some. I'll send you some, Kat. And they're wonderful. They're like CBD fruit leathers. They're so delicious, but they only last 4 weeks and they have to be refrigerated most of the time. So it's like, that's why we're having the other candy develop that's going to be like shelf stable. But, I have a half and I'm like, yeah, I'm feeling good. And then my neighbor, she can eat 2, like 40 milligrams of CBD, and it barely takes the edge off. So it's just like cannabis. Slow and low, that is the tempo. You just start slow and you just wait and see.
Yeah. You just need to come and like teach us how we need to sell to people, because you have all the one-liners for us. I hope the happy tenders in here are taking notes. She dropped gems.
I stole that from the Beastie Boys. I really do want to come and hang out with you guys. I was telling Sunshine that. I was like, I gotta make it back east again and hang out with you guys because that would be so much fun.
So that was actually going to be one of my questions. So before I ask that question, I'm going to see, we have a question here. So I just want to get to this question first before we continue. So Zane Monique, and I hope I'm saying your name correctly. What is the name of the pain cream Salve? So we have it here. It's Mender Pain Salve. It's 2-ounce CBD. This is the product here. You can find it right here at Happy Buds, again, 225 Malcolm X Boulevard. We also have ship. So if you want to ship or if you want to get it picked up, you can do that as well on our website. So we have it here and it's up.
I could show the inside too, and this is what it's like.
Oh, yeah.
It's in whipped coconut oil that's been infused with lots of herbs that have like that nice capsicum, that nice spice. Smells really good. And then it goes on really smooth and it absorbs and it just feels really, really good. You'll start to have like a tingle at first and then a warming effect. And then in about 10 to 15 minutes, you'll start to feel the pain go away. We have women use it on their lower abdomens for cramps or lower back for cramps. It's really great. I like it on the base of my neck because I'm at my computer all the time.
Because I carry my tension here because I drive in New York, and as soon as I get in my car, I'm like, okay.
That would be perfect. Yeah, right here. Oh my gosh. I have my assistant, she won't care that I'm calling her out on this. My assistant likes it to play with it with her boyfriend because it's spicy and she likes it hot. I think it's too hot for me. It's too hot for me, but she likes it that way.
I'm gonna save that for a little later time.
Yeah. It's very warming, so you just have to be aware. But it does stop, and that's what she says, and it's true. It's like just when you feel like it's going to get too hot, it stops.
Ooh.
I know. So anyway, I'll wait for your feedback on that, Kat.
I'll say, just give me like 48 hours, and I'll have a little review.
I love it. I want to hear all of it. It's so good. Yeah. And then our healing salve, which I think you guys have too, is really cool because when I'm talking to women, you can use it on anything from like I've had this happen. It's so weird. Like, if you have like a new pair of thong underwear on and it gets kind of like chafy, you can use it on that. You can use it on hemorrhoids. You can use it on like after you have a baby, if you have stitches, you can use it on your stitches. So we've worked with like doulas and new moms, and as long as you're not getting CBD near your breasts, if you're nursing, because you don't want, babies to consume CBD orally. Unless, of course, that's prescribed and they have epilepsy and you're using the, Epidiolex. But CBD, it's recommended that you don't use it on your breasts while you're nursing. But you can use it on, stretch marks and like I said, hemorrhoids or chafing, or, you know, I have a good girlfriend that's a stylist and she cuts hair. And when it gets hot here in the summer, she likes to wear mini skirts, but she gets like chafing in between her legs. So she uses it there. And so it's just a lot of these products are like things that can be used for a lot of different things because everything is food grade and everything is natural. So you don't have to worry about, you know, you don't have to worry about having like, you know, chemicals that are going to be toxic or taste terrible, or, you know what I mean? Like you can use the healing salve for lip balm if you want. You know, we have like a couple of like really cool hippie moms, and she's like, I use it for my eye cream, I use it for my face, and then I use it for my lip balm, and then I use it on my hemorrhoids. It's like perfect.
Love a multi-purpose use product.
Right?
So we have a question from one of our happy gals, Chandler. She wants to know, what is your favorite way to use CBD personally in your life? And what are the brand's plans? I'm assuming like next plans for you guys.
Oh, yeah. My favorite product, I think, well, I love the body oil, but I think, and besides the pain stuff that I live on, but I'm with you guys. I love the repair serum on my skin. I mean, I had been down a rocky road of like, you know, it's like you turn 40 and all of a sudden you're like, wait, I have to pay attention to my skin. And like I mentioned, I'm like born and raised in Southern California. My mom was like putting on baby oil. Like, I don't even think we wore sunblock, you know? And I am like you could tell, a very white freckled person. Like I am like a Scottish Polish person. Like there's not a lot of, you know, melanin happening here. So I was like, oh shit, I'm getting really wrinkly. And so it was like, I tried microdermabrasion. I got terrible perioral dermatitis and had to go on antibiotics. And then it was like, I tried all these different like retinols, and then my skin got really burny feeling. And like, I'm a sun person. So it's like, you put retinol on your skin, you can't go outside. I live in California on the coast. Like I live outside. So none of that was working. And then it was like the expensive creams. I just was like, I'm not really seeing anything happening right now, you know? And then when we developed the youth serum, I was like, this is so good. This is so good. And the olive oil we get is really polyphenol rich, which is antioxidants. CBD's plumping. And then it was the repair serum with the Baku Child that I use every day. And it's like, again, it's my ritual. It's like I put it on and I rub I'm like, keep my, you know, get my cheeks plumped, and it's like my neck and my chest. And it's like, and in my mind, I think like, I love you, face, you know, I love my wrinkles, you know, I'm so happy I have a face. I'm so happy I have eyes to see. And you just kind of like add gratitude to it. And then it was like, I can't imagine using anti-aging blah, blah, blah from anywhere now. Cause it's just, I feel better. You know, I don't know if I look younger, but my skin is really healthy, and I haven't had perioral dermatitis in years. Oh, thank you.
But I love that too, because I love when I like look at your brand and clearly I have products in front of me. All the ingredients are ingredients that I can recognize and identify. So it's not like I'm putting these, I don't even know what's in this, and I'm putting it on my face. And this is the first thing that people see when they meet me and greet me, is my face. So of course, having products that are natural and relatable and identifiable, and then as you said, like putting gratitude and loving yourself and being appreciative of your skin, it definitely changes your energy. And it's definitely how CBD and wellness is actual lifestyle, and how you live your life and put out that good energy and just be connected with like good energy, the universe, the atmosphere, being thankful to whoever you praise in the morning and night. So I do truly, truly love that. We are running down on time. I could talk to you for hours. I feel like you just gave us so much like educational pieces, so much gratitude pieces for us to consider how we live our life. But my last two questions to you will be, you had mentioned before that you're working on gummies and candies. What new products can we expect from you guys? And when I say
that's it. We just finished round 2 of design on our candies, and we are so excited because My husband's really into native plants here in California. And I like foraged 3 different types of sage, and I sent them to and the candy maker's the coolest guy ever, Michael Fertucci. And so our candy is like inspired by native California plants. So he's working with sages to like, dust them. And I'm not totally sure how he incorporated them, but he said that, the newest flavors incorporating that. So really it's like all of our products, I want to feel like how, living on the coast where I live feels like we're really, we're right next to the Pacific Ocean. I live just like a short distance from Big Sur, where we, it's like it's like wild nature, and I think that's what cannabis wants us to do. It's like anytime you smoke cannabis, it's like, what do? All of a sudden you look around and you're like, oh God, this is the world. Like, even if you're in a city, it's like all of a sudden you're noticing, the leaves and the lighting. And, so I feel like that's kind of like how cannabis kind of leads us to this path of formulating products that are naturally inspired. But so that's going to be our next one. And I'm excited because right now the candy's on our way to test from the candy maker. And we just finished round 2 of design on the container, and it's so beautiful. And it's going to be like ready to throw in your bag and take with you. And it's going to be that mix where, I mean, at my age, I can't tell you how many women friends I have that are on antidepressants. I mean, most of my friends are on antidepressants. Sorry about that. My little thing just dropped, and none of them want to be, they all want to be off. And so, this idea of like being able to kind of like wean off, and if we can treat ourselves and find joy and relaxation so we can enjoy our children and our families and our lives with cannabinoids, because they're already here and this is what the plant wants to do for us anyway. This is what the plant offers.
Good old technology. While we're waiting for her to get back connected, hold on. I think this is her ringing back in. Give us 1 second. Uh-oh. Give us 1 second. She's coming back in. I'm doing well. Thank you so much for asking. How are you doing, Kia?
Anyway, I'm so sorry about that. I have like this little thing. I'm so low tech. I have like this little pop thing and it just like fell. And I'm like, oh, well, there's the adhesive. Anyway, so that's what we're doing next. And we're so excited to get that line sheet out to you guys because I think your customers are going to love it. And it's basically, we're designing a candy to make people just be able to take a deep breath enough to just enjoy their lives and find peace again. Hopefully it can help people find peace again. And then paired with just sticking to a routine of like self-love and self-care, but not in a bullshit wellness space way, but in like a real, like internal way. And like, my girlfriend's stressed out. I'm going to rub her feet for her with this really great smelling, good feeling salve, where like my son's 15 and he doesn't let me do it that much anymore. But when he had growing pains, I'd rub the pain salve into his legs. And it was just like, instead of giving someone an aspirin, it just, you're connecting. It's like cannabis wants you to connect. And that's, what we love about it.
So my last question to you is going to be, when can we expect you in the space?
I want to come so soon. I got to work it out. But we're going to come out because I want to visit Brittany too on her farm. And yeah, we'll figure it out. We're going to come out soon.
If you need companions with you for the farm visit, you can just pick us up here in Brooklyn first, 225 Malcolm X Boulevard. We can all just hop in. We can carpool together. Gas prices are astronomical right now, so we can just do a little carpool situation and have a nice little outing.
Perfect.
Please let everyone know where they can find you, where they can support you.
Yeah, if you want to follow us on Instagram, we're at mender.shop. And then if you want to learn more about us, you can click the link in bio, and all of our stories are there about our CBD and who we are and what we're about. And otherwise, shop Happy Buds Brooklyn, because you guys have been so awesome and supportive. Thank you so much, Kat.
Thank you. Thank you so much for sitting down with us today. Thank you so much for trusting us with your products in the store. Thank you everyone who tuned in, everyone who asked questions, everyone who just joined and shared their energy and their love. Again, you can always find us 11 to 8. And now on Fridays and Saturdays, we are going to be open until 9 p.m. 225 Malcolm X Boulevard here in Brooklyn, Happy Buds. And then our sister venue is still open at 51 Buffalo Avenue, 12 to 9:30 every single day as well. We are your one-stop shop happy place. So you have 2 happy places here in Brooklyn. Again, we carry as many women-owned products as we have Mender here with us today. Thank you, April, so much again for sitting down with us. We appreciate you.
Thank you so much, Kat.
Bye, everyone.